Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. Today on the show, I have a scratch buttermilk biscuit recipe for you. I think that you will love this to get your day started. I don't know about you all, but I was born in New York, but definitely raised here in the South in Tennessee, and biscuits are a start of every good Southern girl's day. So I have a great recipe for you, and come on into the kitchen, let's get started. The ingredients that you will need to make these buttermilk biscuits is a large bowl to mix everything in. You're gonna need a nice cutting board or work surface. You will need a rolling pin, cold cubed salted butter, like really cold. You will need a pastry cutter. You will need salt, baking powder, baking soda, buttermilk, flour, and just a little bit of sugar. I'm gonna use this cup as my biscuit cutter, but if you have an old-fashioned one, just use that. And to bake them on, I'm going to use this silicone mat to bake on this sheet pan. This will keep everything from sticking. We're going to start off with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Just pour that into your bowl. And you will get a little messy making biscuits, so if you want to wear an apron or wear clothes you don't care about. All right, 2 full cups. We want to put all of our dry in together. We need 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Now, a tablespoon is a lot, but you want your biscuits to rise. So 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And you can always look below to get the recipe for this. I know I'm talking a little fast. 1/4 of the soda. We need 2 teaspoons of sugar, granulated sugar. 2. We need 1 teaspoon of salt. We're just going to whisk this together before we cut in our ice cold butter. Right now my butter is cubed, as small as I could get it, and it's in the freezer. So we're just going to give this a little whisk, make sure everything is fully incorporated, and we're going to cut in our butter now. This is only 1 stick. I know it looks like a lot, but it's only 1 stick that I cut small. Get all that butter out. And if you don't have a pastry cutter, they're real cheap. I would suggest getting one, but if you don't have one, you could always use 2 forks. But this is what takes a little bit of arm muscle. So just like the other day, we were getting at our aggression with our meat tenderizer with the cookies, the Oreos and the chocolate chip cookies. You're gonna kind of want to do the same thing here. Work out your arm, get your workout for the day, scrape it as everything gets stuck on there. You're going to keep mixing this until it resembles cornmeal. So you're just going to keep on working your dough. And we are going to chill these biscuits before we bake them, so it's okay if everything comes to room temperature. It's kind of going to get warm by your hand and all this movement. But scrape this and keep on going until everything is incorporated. We want to do this before we pour in our buttermilk. And I am actually using low-fat cultured buttermilk from Aldi, but you could always use full fat. If you don't have buttermilk, you can make it with 1 cup of milk and 1 tablespoon of vinegar, and just let that set for a little bit, and that will give you your sour milk. But buttermilk, in my opinion, is the way to go. So get this going. If you can kind of see, I'm almost there. I'd like that butter to be incorporated a little bit more. And what happens with biscuits is when you bake them, all those fats, all the pockets of fat will bubble over, and that's what makes your biscuits so tender and flaky. Some people use shortening, some people use all butter, and some people use half and half. Today we're using all butter. All right, everything looks good. We are going to pour in 1 cup of buttermilk. My buttermilk is cold, so 1 cup. Pour that in. And we're just going to start to mix with our rubber spatula. We don't want to overmix. We just want this to barely come together. And then after this, we're going to get messy. All right, our mixture has come together, and now we need to flour our surface and get ready to roll everything out. A little flour down, pour this baby out. Make sure that you have a little bit of flour on your hands because it can get sticky and messy, but you don't want to overmix this dough. So once you get it to a good consistency in a circle, stop. Put a little bit of flour on your rolling pin. This rolling pin was given to me by a dear friend. It is so old. I love old nostalgic things, and I love that this cutting board has a lot of love on it. I mean, this rolling pin. All right, this is about as thick as I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna make sure that my cup is floured. And we're not gonna twist, we're just going to pull up. We're gonna place them on our sheet here. I yielded 8 biscuits, and these are larger biscuits, and if you see closely you can see pockets of butter, which is what you want. These are going to rise generously because they had a whole tablespoon of baking powder in them, and they also had the baking soda. Powder makes them rise, soda makes them tender. We need to chill these. We want that butter, that fat, to get to a more solid consistency. We don't want it melty, so we're going to freeze them. We're either going to flash freeze them for 10 minutes or we're going to refrigerate them for 30 minutes. And then once that is done, your oven should be preheated to 450 degrees, and we're going to bake these for about 10 to 12 minutes, as brown as you like them on top. I like mine a little lightly brown, so we're not going to do too long. Our biscuits look wonderful. I have about 2 tablespoons of melted butter. I'm just going to brush on top of them before I taste them in front of you all. They rose beautifully. They look great. I'm very pleased with how they turned out. It actually took about 14 minutes and I went ahead and pulled them out. If you like them a little bit darker than this, then by all means keep them in the oven a little bit longer. I have some natural, organic, local honey that I'm gonna pour on mine with a little bit of butter. So they're not too hot. Let's see what we can do. All right, our biscuits look great. It is time to taste test now, my favorite part of the baking show. I yielded 8, made them kind of big. You can make them smaller if you wanted to. And I have some organic honey, natural, local honey. I'll put a little bit of mine. Let's just give it a little taste and see how it is. Sometimes I would do jam. I do like raspberry or strawberry jam, but I'm gonna try a little bit of honey. Do you see how that is rolling off? Very tasty. This is a light and fluffy biscuit, and you can taste the pockets of real butter. I do like a real butter biscuit. I know that shortening makes things tender as well, but there's nothing like the butter flavor of a biscuit. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join me. I hope that you liked today's episode. Easy buttermilk scratch biscuits. No more Pillsbury, no more biscuits out of a can. This was pretty easy to make and it didn't require that much time. These could also be made in advance and frozen and pulled out when you needed them to have on a Saturday morning or Sunday morning. Kid friendly, husband friendly, wife friendly, and definitely a Southern recipe. I know that a lot of Southerners, biscuits are a staple item on their table. So thank you again for joining me. Please look below on how to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, the whole 9. I'm available. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.